Hello. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Pyanodons. What are we doing? I know I left at least one thing on my to-do list last week. More trains. Okay. So I guess we should start with more trains. I think science is still waiting on the nanofibrils. Yeah, and once we get this first delivery of nanofibrils, that is really going to kick off PySci 3 as being, like, properly available to us. This looks like there's a bunch of other stuff missing, but this is all the stuff that decays, and all of those builds are disabled because we don't have nanofibrils available if we flip through here. Yeah. So that's what's really going to kick off PySci 3 for us, is the availability of nanofibrils. This is disabled too, right? Yes. The other thing that I was concerned about with PySci 3, if I remember correctly, is the gas bladders, and it's hard to tell if we fixed it, and I think I was talking about this at the end of last Thursday's episode. Because we haven't had the nanofibrils, like, yes, we're seeing gas bladders decay, but it's hard to tell if that's gonna be a problem long-term or not. We should be making them slightly faster than we need them now. I expanded Fenyachts, so even if we do have a little bit of decay, it might be okay. It's really hard to tell. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Once we get our delivery of nanofibrils and science is running steadily, we need to start keeping an eye on Fanyot slaughter and our stock of gas bladders to make sure that we are keeping up with the gas bladder demand and that we're not wasting too many of them, because Fanyots are expensive. And I don't want to waste too many. For now, though, I think while we're kind of waiting on the nanofibrils situation, I'm gonna do what my to-do list says, and we're gonna make more fluid trains, because I know that that has been an issue for us. I know we have several that are just sitting in the train upgrade area, so I will go ahead and upgrade those. Maybe I should spend a few minutes just upgrading trains. I don't know how many of the old trains we still have in the system, but if I just grab a bunch of fuel oil canisters here. And request some locomotives, which the bots aren't going to be able to deliver, but I think I can just throw some of this fuel oil in a box and make room for the locomotives. Alright, while we're waiting for the bots to deliver those locomotives, how's nanofibrils? Very close. Is there anything else that I need to be keeping an eye on in the base? I don't really remember. We have Vat Brain Cartridge Mark IIs. Ooh, excellent. I didn't even notice that we had gotten those. So that means that we are getting the prod bonus from the Vat Brain 2s. And what else? Those are happening down here, right? Yeah, and they're currently missing brains, which means we're not really... We are requesting brains. I'm surprised we're low on brains. Like, just in the general case, because we have so many different critters that we're supposed to be slaughtering. I guess we're not actively slaughtering augs right now, which must mean we have plenty of blood and plenty of... We have a lot of blood and a lot of lard? Really? Okay. We do have a lot of blood and a lot of lard. So yeah, that's, I mean, it's good that we have this much lard. That tells me that we can probably keep moving more things to, like, oleochemical-based recipes and stuff like that. Cannot insert... Oh. I have too much random stuff in my inventory. I grabbed too much fuel. The bots couldn't keep up. Time to reevaluate which product is the primary output. It's brains. Yeah. That is probably correct. Did I get... There was some stuff with crystal mines. Where was that build? Down here. Did I get this, like, properly done and upgraded with all the Mark IIs? Yes. Oh, except it's back to... Oh, right. This is why I decided I needed more fluid trains, is because we were struggling with... getting rid of tailings. I remember this now. Oh, also, I have some trains in my inventory. Not enough, though. Could I get one more train, and then I can do an upgrade? Sorry. Shift 5. There we go. Train upgrades. I'd rather keep working on getting my trains faster before I add new ones. So if we're having train bandwidth issues, I'm just going to sit around here and upgrade trains for a little while. Yeah, we've got a new batch of trains on their way. Unfortunately, it's going to probably try to upgrade the solid trains first, just because they're less busy right now, so they're going to be the ones that can trip their interrupt and come do a thing. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Why are we all... Oh, we figured it out. Don't like this. Where is this? Okay. Yeah, so this is the old design that is insufficiently... There aren't enough blocks along these, so it treats the whole thing as like one. You can see this one has signals here on the trumpet, and this one doesn't. So that's part of the issue. But part of it is also... that there's a lot of trains coming into this. Yeah, and these branches on the trumpets should also be better signaled, and I don't think they are, even in my modern blueprint. Okay, it's here. We have an ash input that doesn't have stack inserters, so it's just stupidly slow. I need to fix this. Because we've got trains that are, like, coming in here that are screwing up. Yeah, both of these guys want to come into this section and collect Relisias. And they can't because we've got this fertilizer train blocked behind this ash train. And, like, yes, we could fix some of this with more, like, signals on the input paths here, so that these are in, you know, a larger number of blocks, because apparently this whole frickin' section here is one block. Why would I do that? But the bigger issue is that this station is being blocked. All right, another batch of trains on the way. Another batch of trains on the way. Although one of them is in that disaster area. Yeah, okay, this is getting closer. I guess also with hand size 2, at the very least, one could upgrade this back path, the belt here, to a red belt, and that would help some of this problem. But yeah, it seems like when we get ash deliveries, it's really stalling this whole setup. So that is a thing that needs fixing. Yeah, and that's now caused a, like, rolling traffic jam through this whole section. Because all these trains getting in and out of there are slowing everything down. Yep, we definitely need to at least grab the version of the trumpet that has extra signals and upgrade some of these so that we are so that our blocks aren't as long and we're not spending as much time stopping and starting. There's really no easy way to tell how many trains I have left that are the old ones versus the new ones, is there? I guess I could look in... Do locomotives show up as buildings? Yeah, okay. So I've constructed 300 and deconstructed 204, so there's still 96 locomotives? Alright, and we're doing them 7 at a time. So that's a good, lot. 14 more batches? Well, it's really only 95, because one of those trains is, where is it? This one. Which serves no purpose any longer, and I should just take it apart. Get ready to do it again for Tier 3 trains. Yeah! Well, when are Tier 3 trains? Oh, they're this tech. All right. These ones, we're also going to upgrade the wagons, though. And then... Are we going to upgrade the wagons? The problem is, if we upgrade the wagons, like, our station designs literally can't handle it. I didn't really plan this far ahead when I designed the rail system, if I'm being entirely honest. Maybe we will try to do 2 different types of trains for things that need the higher throughput. We can use the second tier of wagon. Or maybe we'll just take the faster locomotives and stick with 1x1s. Yeah, the wagons should run partially empty, and that will be fine. Yeah. All right. 13 more batches of trains. I think I just need to get it done, though. Like, I keep putting it off, and... And then the other half of it is, like, flushing out the coal from all of these stations, and I don't know how I'm doing that. That might be a manual process. We only have, what, 7 or 8 depots, so ripping the coal out of all of those is totally feasible. Oh, we're still screwed up. Oh no, this is a different spot. Why are we screwed up here? I mean, same concept. Yeah, I should really signal my trumpets better. But also, wild to me that we had 2 trains full of ash dispatched simultaneously here. Yeah, and then we also have 2 trains full of, at least the trains full of the fluids will empty quickly, but, like, what a mess. I also need to fix this station. This station is using bad logic. This was my first attempt at preventing issues around stack inserters with too much stuff in them, or stack inserters with partial hands left in them. And this does it by doing some shenanigans with, like, hand size when there isn't a train here. What I do now is... let's see if I can find a place where I do it correctly. Where is... that's where we make ash. Where's the new fertilizer build? Surely this one. Yeah, so... actually, this one... this side is correct, but I've got partial hands here, so maybe I actually don't have a correct design here. Alright. Cool. Do we have nanofibrils yet? Is PyScience 3 running? Hey, PySci 3 is running. Awesome. Yeah, we're into the less decayed gas bladders, which doesn't surprise me. I'm sure a bunch of them did spoil. Cool. We have science. We don't have a lot of science. It's still buffering over here. But we will be able to start running PySci 3 based tech relatively soon. All right, here comes the last one of these. And as I feared, it does seem like we're mostly getting the wagons for items instead of fluids. But I do think eventually we will run out of item wagons to upgrade, and we will have no choice but to direct the any exciting upgrades before Circuit 3. That's a good question. I don't even know. I've honestly barely even looked at what is in Pi 3. Rocket fuel. Oh, we got the worker robot speed and cargo size upgrades, which I do want to grab because we spend a lot of time waiting for our bots at the mall. Mounts. Uranium and nuclear upgrades, I think, are a thing we need to think about. Because our current nuclear setup sucks and I hate it. New methanol processing, I'll have to look at those options. A bunch of alien life upgrades, which I don't know if we need or not. Ooh, new antimony processing. That's exciting. Transport belt capacity. There's definitely stuff. But I feel like the upgraded nuclear processing into nuclear power is probably where we want to push first. And then, oh, the path to Simics is long. Okay. I suspect there are some places where RTGs would be really nice. But Simics are pretty deep down the chain, unfortunately. I wish we got RTGs at nuclear instead of down with Simics. On the way to blue chips. Lithium processing is going to keep popping up. New semiconductor doping. Neuroelectronics 2. Gold. Okay. So we are going to hit gold as like a hard requirement. Gold was an optional byproduct of something. I don't remember what. And I decided not to bother with that processing. Because gold would have been unusable and I wouldn't have been able to avoid it. Was it chrome, maybe? Chromium? Yeah, I'm really not sure what to look at first into Pi 3. If we want... We apparently need rocket silos for prod, so that's going to be a whole thing. Carbon fiber. Does carbon fiber unlock anything good? Upgraded bulk inserter recipe. Oh, good. We have new small parts. Do we get an upgraded... We do have an upgraded thermosolar. For the solar updraft tower. Where's thermosolar 2? Am I losing my mind? Oh, I'm down in Pi-Sci 4. I skipped way too far ahead. We also do need to do military science at some point. I haven't even looked into that. What does this need? Piercing rounds, walls, zips, aluminium, lead. I feel like we could probably get this figured out. We do even need it for rocket fuel. Okay. Is military science always tiered identically to Pi-Sci 2 in, like, every research? Is that going to be the case forever? Looks like it. Okay. Maybe we should just get military science sorted out. That's... I think it's cheap for us at this point. That could be... It's not really forward progress, but... in theory, this should be 200. I think we have enough space on the belt to do that. I hope we have enough space on the belt to do that. There's a... Oh, yeah, that's definitely a rounding error. I care more about the long term of, like, what is the scale of it all in the overall base. I'm gonna have to go grab more fuel canisters. Okay, let's take a look at this then. If we're feeling like maybe... So it's tiered as Pi-Sci 2. Dog of Chaos, thank you for the 3 months? That's what the UI says. 3 months. Why did that not pop up a notification? Are my alerts broken? Interesting. It's playing the video, but not the audio? There we go. Somehow the overlay got muted in, like, my system mixer. Anyway, Pi-Sci 2 is 0.8 per second. Okay, that's the scale we're doing, apparently. Is that right? Does that include a little bit of extra? That might include a little bit of extra. 1 second. 0.24, and then... Chem science should be 0.48. So it should be 0.72. And apparently we make a little bit of extra. So 0.72 is our military science scale. Although we will tweak that. Okay, that's easy. We have to scale up zips a little bit. We have to make piercing rounds, which we can't prod. We have to make normal rounds, which we also can't prod. We have to make gunpowder. Okay, can we prod gunpowder? No. This isn't hard. It's just annoying. And then walls are just stone bricks and also can't be prodded. Okay. Do we make stone brick on rails? Is that a thing that we have? I think it is. Yes. What is our Zapier scale? Oh, we only make Zapier eggs on rails. We don't provide zips at all, do we? I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, we're just making the eggs. Which we have lots of, but... So we'd have to make a zipper setup. It's a lot of zips. Okay, we get zip 3. Ooh, okay. So maybe we should wait until we have... Phase 2 zips. We get a Zapier upgrade? Is that what I saw? Or was that PySci 3? Yeah, zip stage 3. Here we go. The zip 3 recipe is insane even without 3 zipper eggs to 90% of a zip. Doesn't sound that insane, but I remember how awful the original zip recipe was, so... Yeah, here we go. Zip 4 and Zip 5. These are straight upgrades. Okay, but we need mill science to get this. It shows up in YAFC as a PySci 3 tech, but we also need mill science. Okay, so we do have to build zips with this tier of stuff before we can get this tech. But we can build it with this in mind, right? And then, oh. I'm seeing that this Zip 3 tech is below space. Okay, if this is gated on space, then we can't rely on this for mill science. That's... It's not just about set up enough mill science to bootstrap this tech. We have to move through a lot of stuff. Only the Mark III modules are gated on space? Okay. Well, the tech is still gated on having enough mill science to get through... I mean, I guess it's just 3 techs. That's not too bad to rush the techs. All right. But if we don't push for the best, if we just stick to what we can do now, that's this. Which isn't awful. It's not good, but it's not awful. And I wouldn't want to do this on site. I think we would probably rebuild zip ears. Yeah, because we gotta set up zip 2 breeding and other stuff if we're gonna do this. All right. I was hoping mill science would just be like plug it in, let it run, because we have so much stuff in such high quantities now, but I think we do actually have some real work to do to make this possible. I'm worried about the lead demand, honestly. Which is a wild thing to be worried about, but... Oh, I can't trust any of the output numbers from this. Because, like, this has different consumption amounts depending on what it's actually making. Zips are hard mode, it would be free on standard Pi? Yeah. Yep, I know requiring AL stuff more in the science is a hard mode thing. How many more trains do we have to do? 54. All right. We're almost done. That's 8 more batches. I think I have enough fuel for like almost 3 batches. So after the next couple, we'll have to go grab more fuel. Yeah, we have 19. Which is not a multiple of 7. Alright. If... Ooh, Fanyot Stage 2. I didn't even look into whether this was, like, worth it early on. But if this reduces Bodo's demand, then I might jump on it. I don't know if any of the gas bladder recipes are worthwhile or not, but still. And then a lot of these techs that look like they're earlier are ones that require military science, unfortunately. Upgraded Kevlar recipe. We'll have to keep that in mind. Wood processing 3. Ah, this is the one that gives us the wastewater recipes. And this is why I centralized my wastewater to urea, so that if we wanted to set up wastewater to wood instead, we would have the option to do that. What else might be worth jumping on that's like in the PySci 3 chain. Sorry, let me find PySci 3 again. Early on PySci 3 stuff, I still think upgraded uranium and lithium processing into nuclear is maybe the first place we want to go. Maybe after we grab our just like upgrades, we can do transport belt capacity, worker robot upgrades. I do still want to upgrade my bots at the mall to bot Mark IIs. We do have those. We just haven't done the upgrade yet. But that would mean figuring out flying robot frames and then getting... This is expensive, but we can do it. But the speed and cargo size upgrades will at least help with some of the same things. New productivity, but only after mech parts. Ooh, yeah. But mech parts 3 is going to be... And that's also under electronics 3. Yeah, that's a major investment, and that's pretty far. That's underneath the nuclear stuff anyway. So that reinforces to me that nuclear is a good place to go. Because we need lithium for semiconductor 2. But yeah, pushing towards machine components 3 as like the intermediate on the way to the science pack is not a terrible idea though. Because like I'm looking at the number of techs that are actually on this chain. And yes, there's a bunch. But it's not anywhere near as much as actually pushing all the way to the next science pack. And new machine components. Okay, that also gets us pretty much all the way to Simics, which I wanted to do anyway, if only for RTGs. Okay. So yeah, I think pushing to nuclear power as our first goal of PySci 3 proper feels good. We're gonna have some new... We might want to grab... Didn't I see that there was also an antimony processing upgrade? Yeah, antimony stage 3. Yeah, so this will take the pulp 2, and we'll do a couple more steps on it. Kerosene? Oh, that's a pain in the butt. Okay. Do we do this first? If we're gonna need... antimony more, and we're gonna need more antimony, I assume, in nuclear. I'm assuming antimony is used all over the freaking place, even as we get further into nuclear. I could be wrong, though. Yeah. Look at all that antimony. So maybe we do the antimony processing... and then the lithium processing chain, And then we can look into uranium hexafluoride and getting ourselves to... makes it at... I know that the temperature of the uranium hexafluoride is being used as like a proxy for its isotope ratio. So yeah, we get the 70. That comes into this stage, which makes some 89 and some 54. I'm gonna have to look at this in YAFC. Uranium hexafluoride is the fuel. Temp equals fuel value in nuclear. Yeah. But these different... Right, and then we could take the... lower temperature stuff, and eventually we end up depleted down to the 238. And then it gets used as fuel in one of these things, you said? Yeah, consumes uranium hexafluoride. Yeah, I don't know if YAFC can do it with the different temperatures or not. It can sometimes do stuff with temperature. Wrong button, sorry. We can find out. So it does recognize that there are different temperatures. So if we want to make uranium hexafluoride at 188, it knows that it happens from here. Ooh, yeah, and it knows that we can split our higher and lower temperatures across. Cool, cool. Yeah, it does seem to work. It knows where they all go. And then we bring in from the other side. Oh. And it's mad. YAFC can handle it as long as you don't try to do mixing, yeah. And as long as you, like, actually pick the right target. Which is apparently the 242, not the 188, and I got it confused. Yeah, if we work down the chain from this side... And then what's the actual input one? I'm going to actually just check this in game. 70. So if I find our 70, and I say also make that from this, and then link the 188, there we go. It figures it out. Cool. Obviously, 1 a second is silly, but... And we can't prod any of this, I would assume, because if you could prod this, you would have unlimited, because it loops. Yeah. It knows what recipes output at which temperature, and it knows which ranges of things you can have as inputs for different recipes. So yeah, it seems like it does, and it's also possible that there's some YAFC specific hints that are in the mod, because you can detect YAFC in mod code and help it sometimes. Cool. So yeah, this works. Obviously, this is not useful right now. And then that would feed into this thing, which does whatever it does. I'm assuming that it generates some kind of waste material. Is it under... No. Consumed in nuclear reactor. Crafts. Here we go. Spent reactor fuel. That's going to be this recipe. Yeah. Spent reactor fuel. And a bunch of neutrons that we have to do something with. We have some new plutonium processing recipes. Oh, there's so much to figure out with this. Anyway, it's ad break o'clock. Let's let the ad run. It's already been an hour and I feel like I've done nothing. We'll let the ad run and then I'll try to figure out what we can work on today other than planning ahead. Today might be a planning episode. That just might be the way it goes. But I'm going to step away and get some water during the break. I'll see everyone in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I was just checking on the science, and this is looking good. We've got plenty of nanofibrils. We use nanofibrils very slowly compared to the gas bladders and the propolis and everything else. This looks like it is correctly managing to buffer a little bit of propolis and a little bit of bio ore. I think all of my things are working right. We do see what I think is just going to be a temporary blip in the processing. But you can see that we are like really backed up on Negasium, and that is expected because we do rely a little bit on its boiling to like balance out the production versus consumption ratios of the Negasium and Paragen. So we might have to wait here for some Negasium to decay, and we might briefly stall. But like once that process starts, it should be fine. I could probably do something where we try to like divert a certain percentage of the Negasium we produce to a chest so it's like dedicated to decay. And that might work a little bit better, but like it'll be fine. We're running out of gas bladders, which is expected because we use like 5 of these at once. And because some of them did decay before we got our load of nanofibrils. So science is going to stall again, but I'm hopeful that after we get a couple deliveries of Phanyots to animal processing, science will be fine. Like it'll all the ratios should balance out and things should be running. Yeah, propeptides is still waiting on Dingrit spikes as well, but I think that is also maybe close to balancing out and like being ready to loop when it needs to loop. Maybe not. Well, that is at least good progress to see that science is running like consistently when it gets all the right inputs. I also did not count which of these were making 5 fluid, 2 normal. How many locomotives do we have left? 40. All right. Let's go grab enough fuel oil canisters for 40 locomotives. Ooh, that's bad. You're not getting the X signal. Why? Negative 9,000 is less than... There we go. Now this should request additional... It hasn't, but it should. At any rate, we're running low on canisters. It's supposed to request more input canisters when these buffers get low. I think what I need to do is isolate the network and then say if we're less than 160 stacks and these stack to 20. All right. So now, basically, if we're less than one warehouse full, which is to say it always wants to keep one of these warehouses full, and then the other two can be used for returns from train stations. But if we're below a warehouse, then request from this network. But we're still not getting a train assigned. Oh. Because we don't have enough trains. Wait. Could not find a train on the correct network. Oh. This is the problem. Well, besides where this one tree is, where I can't actually hit the combinator, and I have to do that on every single depot. There's one up here, right? Yeah. And this one? Okay. So there's just the one depot on this one that was wrong. Copy as ghost. Oh, that would work. Yeah. That way I don't have to go change the tree. Yep. Good shout. Thank you. It's the one near where I'm going anyway, so it would have been easy enough for me to, All right, we are dangerously close to being done with our, yeah. Only 32 more trains to upgrade. Ugh. And it looks like we're going to be at 282 Minus 12. 270 trains in total in the network. That is a lot of trains. And I'm going to build some more, actually. I want to build a few more fluid trains. Cool. This is working now with the depots set to allow the X network. And then once we manage to buffer like a whole deposit's worth of... Yeah. Having this many more trains that are using this fuel type means that there's more of the containers that are sitting in the locomotives, right? So we have to, like, send them out into the world. I need to be careful with that, actually. We don't want to have a situation like we had when I first started doing these, where we completely ran out of fuel in some of the trains because the depots couldn't keep up with the fueling. Nope, there's the last one. Yeah, I just sent a bunch of new fluid trains into the system. Or upgraded fluid trains. I am going to make some new fluid trains as well. Actually, while we're waiting here, let me go grab... Let me double check the numbers. This says 26, but it's actually 25. And I have 26. So if I want to make 10 extra fluid trains... I'm not going to request those yet, because I'll confuse myself. I need to grab 9 more canisters. Okay. That should be just enough to finish upgrading all of the existing trains, and then to drop 10 new fluid trains. As we end up with fewer and fewer trains left in the system, it's going to take more time for the trains to get up to where we are, because they're they have to wait until they have the set of conditions where the interrupt is valid, and that's going to potentially take some time, and they could be further away. While we're waiting, the usual checks. Fan yachts are almost ready for a delivery. Science is probably stalled at this point. Not quite, but close. Oh, it is stalled. Ah, okay, so it stalled exactly where I said I thought it might stall, where we're just waiting for some of the early Negasium to spoil. Why are you disabled by control behavior? Oh, we're out of cotton guts. That's wild. Yeah. Okay, let's check on cotton guts. I mean, they're running. They seem fine. Okay, it is just barely ready for a delivery. Were they running, though? Or did something... Okay, yeah, we've had some issues. Oh, yeah, it definitely eats a lot, but, like, I went through and recomputed all my ratios for these, but this is not consistent. So we're seeing cotton gut studs, pups, have been having issues, and that's been ruining the cotton gut production. But why are the pups... Oh, it's probably been Releasias. It's my stupid Releasia situation. Okay. Yeah. And we did make a lot of fixes to Releasias, but we also do still need to fix this train station. I was talking about this at the start of the train. Start of the stream. This should just be high throughput because it pulls in ash. This is, yeah, going to take forever. Or I should move ash over to its own station separate from everything else. That would probably be the better choice, but... And then it's wild to me that some of these are backed up like this. I think what this is telling me is that we have... more capability to produce... Like, our ratio of Releasias to seeds that we're outputting from the system is wrong. And we want to be pushing more... Maybe just add another pair of botanical nurseries? Let me see what this says the ratios are. So these will use 18 Releasias a second. We can produce 30, yeah. So if we're not consuming 12 Releasias a second, and it seems like we're not, then we're wasting capacity, and we should be instead converting more of them to seeds. And that's as simple as just, like, bonk. And then adjusting these belts. 2 Botanical Nursery Mark IIs. I'm just going to request those. We can go right up there and we'll do some surgery on Releasias. We'll do that change, and we will also change how we're bringing in the ash. Trains left to do. Yep, this says 19, but one of those isn't real, so 18. So that's 3 more batches, 2 full batches, and then 1 partial. And then we are done with the train upgrades, which is delightful. A couple of small fixes to the Releasia build to deal with some of the situation here. All right, well, I've got the nurseries, so let's go do this while we're waiting for the trains to arrive to be upgraded. Yay, alright. And then this needs to be done here instead. Alright, so that'll give us a slightly larger chunk of seeds coming out. Just tweak the ratio of what this produces a little more. And then the other thing we need to do... Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take ash off of this. And we will do... Oh, I literally can't. In there. We'll do ash over here as its own input. All right. And again through there. All the way back here. Did I not do high throughput? Am I an idiot? I mean, yes, but I swear I was holding the high throughput one. All right, there we go. That should do what we need. Yellow belt will feed half of a red belt just fine. That's what we had before, was just half a red belt. So I think this should be good. And this should help with some of the train station contention that we were having here. We might also need a little... We could... Here, you know what? Let's just do it. If we do that, and that, and that... Not that I think this will ever quite be a full red belt, but we may as well let it be. Because in theory, this station can load at like a full red belt's capacity between the two sets of inserters running. Even if we're not using the stack inserters, this can still load pretty quickly. So we want to make sure that we can take as much of this belt of seeds as the system is willing to give us. We could probably go even further. We could probably do 1 or 2 more. Because we're only at, well, 21 out of, like, 30. So maybe that's as far as we want to go. Because we do still need flower form for some things. Yeah, all right. And this is where we're starting to hit the slowness. Okay, 4 trains with this stop. We have to wait for the trains to be ready to be interrupted to be sent here. And they're just it's going to take a little while as trains complete their tasks for them to get dispatched here. Fanyots. Not quite a delivery yet. Have they been running consistently, by the way? Yeah, I would say that's consistent. I like the spikes in caged Fanyots, and you can actually see where I increased the production rate. Beautiful. And then you can kind of see how the... Yep, because this is also where I increased the slaughter rate. And you can see that it actually is arguably still too fast because we're running out of them and then waiting and then running out and then waiting. So we could slaughter less quickly and have this slope differently to meet the next batch coming in, but it's fine to be a little overkill. Yeah, I want to check if Fanyot 2 is worth it or not. As far as... Well, mostly as far as our ability to... Wait. The answer is yes. No wonder this isn't working right. No wonder all my math is wrong. Why do I do this to myself? I planned for Fanyot 2. That's why it seems like it's taking way too long. That's why it seems like it's decaying way more than I expected. It's because this whole thing is designed around Fanyot 2. I planned to do this upgrade. And then I completely forgot because I didn't put it in my to-do list. Okay. So good to know. Can I just pull this one forward and just do it next? Yes. We'll let the current thing... Ooh, science stopped. Why is science stopping? We're missing... Why? I don't like it when we're missing things like PySci 1. That's a... Oh good, we're out of logs. Always love to see that. Yeah, the ash train backup was causing issues. We have lots of ash again. It seems like... I mean, we're burning through muddy sludge. There's 5 trains on the way with muddy sludge in them, though. So that's... maybe a thing. It's so hard to keep logs running. I'm amazed that logs are still an issue. Well, no, I'm not. But... all right, this is looking good. We're pulling through a lot of... okay. We're just getting a delivery of the plant form right now. Which means some of it's being diverted away from making seeds. Although it does prioritize seeds. Alright, well, since it looks like the whole Fanyot build is even already built with, like, all the right inputs and everything, I don't think there's anything I have to do for Fanyot 2 when we get it. Like, we've got the salts and stuff coming in. We're ready to go. Cool. Copper processing upgrade coming up soon. Solder 3. Add silver to the mix. That sounds awful. Why would I want to do that? Silver is so expensive. Titanium and zinc upgrades. We're probably going to need those soon, TM, but for now, they're fine. Big mines. Paramagnetic material is for neuroelectronics. Smart farms are something we might want to think about because we are going to run short on, you know, they give us better control over our, like, native flora and stuff, right? We should be able to grow our own. Alright, basic substrate is running again. I'm concerned that we might be... okay. We're actually... I mean, we're not great, but so far PySci 1 is really the only thing that's been starved of substrate. Oh. Really? Am I mean, yes, as always. Yes, Brendan, you are an idiot. Yeah, that's more than half a belt. Wait, 1, 2, 3 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. Except... that's just not how you connect these things. There we go. That's the problem. Ugh. I was like, why are we struggling so much? And that's why. Alright, we're gonna get this stuff out a lot faster now. Well, we're running out of upgradable trains here. says 0 trains with this stop, but I do believe that we still have some that are just not making their way to this location yet. Oh, nope, never mind. That was the last of them. We did it, chat. We upgraded all our trains. It only took an hour and 45 minutes. As soon as the bots bring me these fluid wagons here, I'm going to make some extra trains. Yep, and I have just enough fuel for them. All right. And we don't need to hold on to that. Oh, we don't need this request anymore. Sweet. That is... trains done for now. I should probably think about... changing all of the fuel depots to stop bringing in coal and to make this a double-sided belt of fuel oil canisters. Yeah, let's do it. The problem is I'm gonna have to, like, clear all of these out of their coal. All right. Well, that's pretty much the process. And then at a future date, I'm going to have to come around and collect all these chests full of coal. I'm hoping that's enough. Is that going to be enough storage for this much belt is the question. Probably not. And then, yeah, we also have ash to get rid of. Well, that's one depot. Let's go set up another one. We've got 7 of these to do, and we don't have to do them all right away. But I will feel more comfortable knowing that the depots are definitely fueling the trains correctly. Shoot. Go back to a depot. Cancel that whole delivery. That's definitely a thing that CyberSyn's not going to be mad at me for doing. Yeah, that's fine. That's the one that I just screwed with. All right, that is 2 out of our 7 depots reconfigured. I'll reconfigure the other ones kind of as I'm going to those corners of the world. I don't think it's worth running around doing the reconfiguration for every depot sort of aggressively. How are we doing on Relegia seeds? We have a lot of demand for Relegia seeds. What is this? Oh, cotton guts. Cotton guts go through heaps of these. All right. Yeah, we might have to invest in scaling up Relesias some more. Or at least on letting it turn more of our Relesias into Relesia seeds, because it seems like that's where we're at. I mean, we can grab a couple more nurseries. Did I make any other outputs? Doesn't look like it. Do I remember how these work? Yes, I do. Okay. I should set up outputs for, I think, probably coal and ash are things that I have heaps of in storage. Definitely coal. Look how much coal we have in storage. We want to be pulling that out of here. And I imagine there's lots of ash in storage as well. Although I don't necessarily know where to find it. I also see quite a bit of biomass that we should probably get out of storage. Yeah, let's work on some of that. So I believe the way I did these was just a standard pickup station. And then we drop the requester in. We want it priority 2, and that just means higher priority than any other normal station, because I really only use -1, 0, and 1. So 2 should be higher priority than anything else. It might have to make the requester warehouse. I don't know if I have any buffered anywhere. And then I can set one of these to coal. I can set one of them to ash. Apparently I had one for logs, which is good. Basically all the stuff that I'm always, like, bringing into the mall, into storage with me, that builds up in storage and never goes anywhere, is what we want to be getting rid of here. Yeah, let's do a couple more. Is this gonna go here? Yes. So we're going to do, we need one for coal, one for biomass, one for ash. What else do we have in here that we desperately need to get rid of? Why do I have so many Shaft Mark IIs? I don't know. But, like, we should at least be using those. I must have screwed something up with a train request or something at some point. But those will eventually get used up. I'm not worried about that. We have all of these locomotives. There's nothing I can do with the locomotive Mark 1s. They're not used, I don't think, in any recipes. Yeah. They're literal garbage. Oh. A bunch of extra brakes, too. Something broken with our... Interesting. I don't know what's up with that. All right. This is going to request biomass. And this is just going to pull the biomass out of... Wow, we have like 20,000 biomass in storage. Yes. And then down here, we'll do the same thing with coal and ash. Whenever we get the parts delivered. The bots are very busy getting junk out of my inventory right now. All right, Pyanodon Stage 2 is important. We actually care about that one. Is Trits 2 something that we're going to care about? Maybe. I'll have to look at that. Biofluid network. I need to... I honestly know nothing about the biofluid network, so I don't know if this is worth trying to do or not. I'm assuming that we're basically out of bots right now. Yes. All 5,000 of our bots are busy doing crap. The other thing I should maybe do, and... It's like, yeah, I know it's like Fluid Logibots, but that's the extent of my knowledge, is that it is like Fluid Logibots. These three creatures are biological alternatives to the logic bots. They're transporting items. They'll help you in fluids. Yeah, doesn't really say much beyond that. Only a few fluids can't. That's true. You can always barrel things. Well, and I have CyberSyn and the train network, right? So, like, we're still only really using bots for a couple of small areas. This network isn't even used for anything anymore. So... Actually, you know what? This should be... This is the one for Ash. It should be high throughput. And this one is going to be coal. All right, that should be everything the bots need to start getting all the ash and coal out of storage and biomass. I'm sure there's other stuff in here that we should get rid of. We should probably do biocrud too, is one that's worth pushing out. I see at least 3 chests full of biocrud. 4 chests. Maybe seaweed. I end up with random seaweed in my inventory from filling in water, but I don't know if it's enough that it's worth trying to push out. And then raw coal is also a problem, but I don't have a consumer for that, so I need to figure that out. I might need to make something that exists just to get the raw coal out of the mall. A really, like, simple coal crushing setup or something like that. My question is... actually, it's just 3 of these that I care about. 8.7. All right. So 4 of these, even 5 of these would fit on half of a red belt. All right. I think we're just doing one more row of this. I think this is fine. 4 on one half, 3 on the other half, whatever. And our consumption now is 25. Yeah. So we're not pushing a lot of flower religias out anymore, but like it's still backed up right now. We'll have to see if that can still keep up with this many dedicated to seeds. But this should be pushing through the better part of a whole belt of seeds now, it looks like. Yeah. It's very close to a whole red belt of seeds coming through. Which is just slightly more than 6 inserters can handle. Which is why it loops all the way around. Alright. It does look like we're doing a little bit better. Why is that at 12,000? Yeah, minus 120. Okay, that's... Yeah, okay, they do stack to it. Why did I see a delivery of 1,000 then? That's funky. Oh, is this still doing half train loads? This is still doing half train loads. Okay. That's weird. Did I... I'll need to mess with this. Alright, but it's ad break o'clock. Again, it has been another hour. As always, I run just the one ad break an hour, just long enough to keep the pre-roll ads turned off. So I am going to step away and get some water during the break. And when we return, I'm going to see if I can make this work correctly. I think I can, with full train loads. And we'll see what else there is to fix. But I appreciate folks hanging around through the break. Welcome back, everybody. All right. This, I think we could just do, because this is a deposit and it's only requesting 5 things, all of these should be able to be full train loads. 30 stacks each. 30 stacks with a request threshold of 20. I don't know why this was set with smaller thresholds. Maybe it was an earlier version of this that was doing something different, but as built, there's no reason for this to be requesting small amounts of anything. Request threshold of 2,000, not 20. Well, that's unfortunate. We're going to get some weird deliveries. And then... yeah, this one is cotton guts, and it seems like we are slowly actually filling this buffer. So I think we are catching up on the Relesia seed demand. It's just that we have a large buffer of it in cotton guts because this consumes so many of them. Science is not running at full speed. We might just still be waiting for science packs. Yeah, I think we are just waiting for science packs. I think we have them all here. It's just a matter of waiting for them all, to come around the loop. It also does seem like we might be a little snug on loop space with the current amounts of everything that I have set. Which is something I was a little bit concerned about. I mean, it's very close, but a couple of the packs are staying fairly not quite there. It's like we need like 2 more tiles of belt. Everything is also really clumpy, which is not ideal. I mean, we can adjust this one. This one really doesn't need to be past a certain point. Having the amount on the belt ratioed to what they're consuming isn't helping us feed these any faster, right? It's just taking up slots on the belt that the other... Around time to check if brain cartridges are cheaper. Oh, brain cartridges are definitely cheaper than science. But those are running fine. As long as we're making enough brains, which is hit or miss right now. We might need to make brains also trigger augs when we're low on brains. Because right now, we only slaughter stuff for blood or lard, I think, and we don't have anything that we slaughter specifically for brains. But as long as we're getting enough brains, we're making vat brains and vat brain 2s. You can make multiple? They don't conflict like beacons do? I didn't realize that. I thought I could only put one in. In that case, it is definitely worth doing more with them. I'd have to redesign this this setup, and we'd have to scale up. I don't know if we're making enough brains right now. We're like just barely making enough vat brain cartridges for our current consumption. So we'd have to scale up the production, and we have to scale up brain production. But yeah, if these don't conflict, then it is definitely worth investing in. How's Religious doing? At least on normal mode, they don't conflict. I mean, maybe hard would have changed that. It seems unlikely that's a thing they'd change, though. Maybe. It's always possible. At this tech level, most people do a couple vets surrounded by labs, and yeah. And I mean, this is designed basically to be the most labs that I can reasonably cram around one vat, right? Because I wanted to get the most I could out of the vat brain. But we could definitely switch this to be like, you know, half as many labs with a second vat brain on the other side of them or something like that. But then we would have to, again, double our vat brain production, and we're not making enough brains for that. At least not making enough brains for that, like, regularly and consistently. We definitely could make enough brains for that. We just have to decide how best to increase our brain output. Yeah, cartridges are consumed no matter what. I know. They're not that expensive, though, in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, we definitely could make it halt them when we don't have all of the science packs available. That would be easy enough, wouldn't it? We should just do that now. I should also probably turn off the labs when we don't have vat brain cartridges. Because literally just throwing science away if I run them without prod. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine if we're not getting every lab turned on. That's just... I mean, it's kind of a throughput thing with how many items we're putting on the belts versus the current, like, speed of this research, right? This is a 2-minute one. These are all 2-minute ones. But... I also think lab research speed was a little bit slower when I... previously. But, let's grab, well, two things. One, we want this to come on over here. Really? Labs can't be on wires? But this can. So if I want to turn off the labs... Well, let's do this first. Decider Combinator. Automation Science Packs, and Hi-Sci 1, and Logistics, and Hi-Sci 2, and Chemical. And we're not going to require Hi-Sci 3 yet. Alright. And this, yeah. This will turn off slightly before the labs do when we have a shortage of a science pack, because they'll burn through the last of whatever's on the belt. But that should only be a few packs at most, so that's fine. I guess I could include the... include the belt in it. But it's impossible to read the contents of the machines themselves, so... that's as good as that gets. And then the flip side of this, I think what I need to do... I actually need to make a power switch. I've never made a power switch in my life. So let's put that in the mall. Speaking of, how's power doing? Yeah, we're fine. Wait. Did I see... oh, we're all time. Never mind. Okay. Past hour? Yeah, we're good. I saw accumulators, and I only have accumulators in a couple of very specific places, and they're isolated power grids. So I was surprised to see them, but that's because apparently if you use all time on any of the production charts, it flips it for electricity too, which is... what are we doing? 5 gigs on beacons. Ooh, but up to 5.5 on particle accelerators. So yeah, at peak, when the particle accelerators are running, we're probably need a little more power, but it's not urgent. We should have everything for this, right? Yeah. And then PySci 1 is probably more... okay, PySci 1 is running. It's just not caught up yet. That's fine. Yeah, we are running low still on basic substrate, which is probably still logs. Yeah. And logs are running... Have they been running somewhat consistently for the past couple of hours, though? Eh. Maybe. It does seem like production is going over consumption, but not, like, super consistently. Yeah, these charts are on the same axis, and it's pretty... It's very noisy, which is weird. Probably because we're running low on one or more input things. Maybe muddy sludge? Which is kind of surprising, but also kind of not surprising at all. How's Moss doing? Moss is doing surprisingly okay. Yeah, it's the muddy sludge that's here just, like, ruining my life. Yeah. And, like, 5 trains is the most that can be dispatched with this size buffer. I'd have to make the buffer bigger if I wanted to allow more trains through. Which maybe is what we need to do, is make a bigger buffer so that we get more throughput. But it does seem like this is maybe a production issue. Like, we legitimately might not be making enough muddy sludge. Which is wild. We make so much muddy sludge as byproducts of so much stuff. But yeah, we might have to scale up the intentional muddy sludge build. Which this is not. This is just wrong. Oh, that doesn't have a void, but it is high priority. Funky. Okay. Yeah, that's just wrong. Where's the normal priority, not void? Here's low priority production. Yeah, here we go. I mean, we could just upgrade this all to Mark II buildings and Mark II belts, right? And just double its capacity. Although it seems like it's doing... Oh, like, it's buffering quite a bit. Like, it's sitting on 61. There's only 25,000 in shipments. I think we need to increase the size of the buffer here so that we can have more trains en route simultaneously. That is my best guess right now as to what will get logs working again. Or get logs working more consistently. Because it does seem like our production, and especially our dedicated production, is doing fine. It's not sitting drained. Yes, most of our demand is being handled by byproduct, but that's expected. That's the way the system's designed. Yeah, I used to have moss and logs with muddy sludge on site, and getting rid of excess muddy sludge was becoming a problem. So I moved them to this. Which, yeah, I can mix on-site and train deliveries with like a priority, whatever. That is true. Just a top-up valve. Yeah, we can definitely try that. I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to keep up with just the bigger buffer so that we have more trains en route simultaneously. Might be all it needs. Yeah, we're empty. We're empty, but it only started dispatching the larger number of trains, like, right now, so... Ooh, we got something going on here. Why are you... it's Ash again. I mean, for sure, we can at least do, like, just start from this side. That'll help a little bit with some of the issues, although not with all of them. There we go. We are actually sitting on an almost decent amount of sludge now. It's trying. It's trying real hard. We probably actually are, like, totally out of sludge now, though. Now that it is dispatching more trains. Yeah. Let's upgrade it. I do think the trains can keep up with this, although admittedly it will be a lot of trains. I mean, we actually do have, like, in just the past couple of minutes, it is running better, right? We're pulling a lot of logs out of this. Yeah, but we're already out of sludge again. Oof. How much muddy sludge does this consume? Do I even want to see? 1,600 per second. This makes 600 per second. Yeah, unfortunately, the bots are still busy getting all the crap out of storage, so we are... Why do I have all of this printed circuit substrate? Some of this stuff I should just, like, collect and put it where it needs to be, or just pretend it doesn't exist and leave it forever. There's a lot of coal in, or coke in here. The coal I know we're at least getting rid of. The coke I don't know what to do with. Same with the raw coal. There's a lot of raw coal left. Hey, we are almost done getting rid of all the ash from Logi storage, though. So that's a that's good to see. What about the coal? No. There's still 28,000 coal in Logi storage. Ah. And a lot of that is from the train upgrade process, right? Because they had several stacks of coal in each locomotive. I wish I could put a priority on requesters and just be like, hey, if there's literally any task other than this one to do, go do it. Oh, okay. Have I done anything productive at all today? I don't think so. We did fix some issues. What is this blocked on? Gas bladders. But of course, we realized that gas bladders are broken because I have the wrong fan yacht recipe. So until that runs... Okay, we did get a delivery of PySci 1 and science turned back on. That's good to see. I I do still need to hook up. Did we get the power switch yet? Where am I? Okay. I know I'm still waiting for the stuff for the Muddy Sludge upgrade, but yes, we do have a power switch. It would be nice to be able to do the Muddy Sludge upgrade first, if we have the buildings done for it, just because that's on my way to where I need to use that power switch. But I do want to go make sure that science turns off when we don't have vat brain cartridges. Yeah. It's going to take long enough for that stuff to get made that I don't think it's worth waiting around for. All right, so this is where we need power switch. Cool. That should do what we want, right? Yes, it will cut a little bit prematurely if we run out of vat brains in this, but they're still on the belt, but I don't care. It's about having it put itself into a safe state, right? Not about... I could use the power switch to control. That is true. We move this over here and add the vat brain to this. And then do... Now it only runs if it has everything it needs. Because everything over here, including the vat brain computer, is off of this switch. Yeah, that's the better way to do it. That way, if we're out of science or if we're out of vats, we pause the whole setup. And all I have to do is remember that once we have PySci 3 actually running consistently, we need to add it to the setup here. How are we doing on the upgrade for... Oh, we're really close. Cool. That will be hopefully done by the time we get back over there, and we can upgrade Muddy Sludge. Oh, nope, not quite. We're still waiting for a couple more. What are you waiting for? Literally one of everything. Excellent. A few more than that. Yeah, the bots are just still very preoccupied with biomass. And coal. The coal is the ridiculous one. I didn't realize how much coal I had in the network. But yeah, it's just everywhere. How much raw coal is there, out of curiosity? Only 9,000 raw coal. That's not as bad. I'm surprised I have so much more coal than raw coal. I must have ended up with a bunch of coal in my inventory at least once. Because raw coal is something that we're always picking up, right? Because we get raw coal from coal rocks. I'm not sure where all the coal is from. We did just get the Pyanodon recipe, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just running down here. Because sometimes when you update recipes remotely, stuff gets thrown into the trash slots, and that does not, well, always happen when you do them locally. Wait a second. I am missing bedding. I didn't get bedding routed to these guys, only to this. Okay. How much bedding do these use? Practically nothing. We can make this work. I think we gotta do, just one of these, right? And then the hard part is actually getting the bedding up there. Because we're pretty dense on belts here. Except it's not that hard at all. There we go. That should be all this needs. Here's a question. Is the same thing true of dingrits? Did I also design dingrits around the expectation that I would have a better recipe? No, these are recipe 1. It was just the fan yachts that were designed around recipe 2. Okay. That is fine. I mean, still a very slow recipe. Oh, these are the Mark II corrals even. That's as good as this is getting for a while. What's our next fan yacht upgrade? Oh, not until... Not until prod. Okay. Well, there is a turd. I didn't even look at these. To honor their new sovereign, the herd will provide even rarer gases. All right. Interesting. I'll have to look at that. I probably need to do a pass on all of my available turds and figure out which ones might be worthwhile. And that looks like we are running at, I mean, pretty close to maximum. I think 1 or 2 of these labs aren't fully running. Yeah. They are struggling to keep up. I might just need to use red belts through here. Like, I don't know that it's the speed at which we're getting items out. I think it's the speed at which we can get the items from here to here. I mean, I guess you could do the math, right? Yeah, it's 1, 6, 12, 22 items in 120 seconds. Times, how many labs do I have? 16 labs. Yep. Times their speed, which is 2.4. It's exactly 7 items a second. So in theory, a single yellow belt is enough. In practice, maybe not. Maybe we do need a second inserter on some of the higher speed ones. Let me do the math on that. 10 per 120, 16, 2.4, 3.2 items a second. With hand size, that should work, although it's not hitting an empty slot every time. So we might want a second one. I think a second inserter dedicated to automation science and upgrading this all to red belt is the way to go. Hopefully that'll fix our bottlenecks around getting the science from the train station into the labs. Did this get everything it needs? Yes. All right, let's go upgrade sludge, and then junk in my inventory. Did I miss one? There it is. And these guys. All right. And that needs a better belt, almost certainly. Cool. That is going to be significantly faster production here. Push that up to larger. Does this still have this pump? It does. Let's get rid of that. $1,200 a second. The maximum rate of one pump is 12,000. Okay, we're good. And what was the other thing we're doing? Oh, science. Yeah. Just adjusting the science routing a little bit. We got that. And then we also want a second one of these. And, like, in theory, these should be 200, but there's not really space in the... whoops. I don't think there's space in the loop if I set these to 200. Yeah, we need room for like 60 more items. Which, like, we are going to need to have a second station coming in anyway. Which... I'm not totally sure how I'm doing that here, but we'll have to figure it out. Because we do have... Or maybe it'll have to be over here. We're going to have more types of science packs, and this is already maxed out at 5 in one deposit. If I want to be able to use standard, or actually, I think I have it set at 6, right? Yeah, 6 in one deposit is definitely capped. So when we add the other science packs, this belt will get a lot longer, and that will hopefully... But, like, we can start thinking about that now. Let's get... Where's my red undergrounds? There we go. God, they're so long. Pyanodon's really is here enabling my spaghetti. But if we go past this on this side... then these other ones can start to come in on the other side of the belt. Yeah. So we'll loop this around here. There we go. Yeah, some of these put out some extra ones. That's fine. The problem is with the loop now being this long, we might have latency issues. Which just means we might need to set, well, no, because this side of the loop is still short. So as these unload things, they'll end up here still. Yeah, I don't love this, but... it would be nice if our other station was closer, but I think this will work fine. I'm kind of built into a corner here. And like over time, stuff should get spread out on the belt, I hope. Or at least a little more spread out than it used to be. We also probably could tell it that it should put more stuff on the belt and keep it in the loop. Yeah, I mean, it does look like we're getting a little bit more spread out around the loop. The loop is more than twice as big now, so I probably could, like, just double everything. Also, these numbers here are scaled for... texts that use PySci 3, so, like, these aren't actually putting the right ratios on the belt for what we have currently researching. Which is also fine, but... How is PySci 1 doing, by the way? It is looking good. It wants more basic substrate, and it's not getting a delivery. But basic substrate is running. Not super consistently, but it is running. Why are you red? Disabled by control behavior. Oh. We've been one cellulose machine short, apparently. I wonder if this is another place where it's worth upgrading to a red belt so that the cellulose loops a little bit faster. Has more time to get past. How did I choose 225 as my number for cellulose, by the way? I have 7 machines. 225 is not even a multiple of 7. I bet I didn't upgrade this since I had 5 machines. I think this should be 275. Could be wrong, but that's my guess. That should keep a little bit more cellulose in the loop and hopefully help. Help these ones at the end to run a little more consistently. Yeah. Science is still just having issues here. I think I need to have more blues in the loop for them to get, like... for enough of them to make it to, like, this section. Yeah, let's just increase all of this by 50%. It's gonna take a second for us to get past... yeah, where everything is flooding this and ending up really dense. But yeah, there's plenty of empty space still in the loop, even with everything here pushed up this high. Cool. Yeah, now they're all turning on. Look at that. It's working. Cool. That's what this was supposed to do. Yeah, and we're running at like the 24. Is that what we expect? 2.4 times 16 times 1.5. 57.6. And sorry, that's science per second. And then so our theoretical SPM at 100 at a 2-minute research time is 28.8. And we're sitting at like 25. So we're still not quite keeping every single machine fully saturated, but we're in a much better place. I think what I'm gonna do if we put these ones on the other side of the belt, there should be a lot more space for the rest of everything else on the inner side of the belt. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, these aren't being blocked by there being way too many automation packs anymore. Beautiful. Okay. In theory, everything should have fit on one side of a belt. Like, it's like 7 items per second, if I did my math right, which I may not have done right, but certainly now it is definitely all gonna fit using both sides of the belt. Okay. I'm gonna call it here for today. I know it's a shorter stream, but I have a pounding headache. I've had a headache all stream, and I was hoping it would get better, and it isn't. So I'm gonna call it. I don't have the wherewithal to try to do anything new and interesting today, unfortunately. But we made some good fixes. I mean, it was mostly bug fixes, but I'll take a good bug fix day. Logs should be running better, maybe. How is that possible that there's only 3 dispatched? Wow. Oh, water's not keeping up. All right, we'll go fix that, and then we'll call it a day. Forgot to add more water pumps, so our faster muddy sludge was not faster. There's definitely also some stuff we can do with traffic management. A lot of the older rail segments are not signaled well. I made some changes to the blueprint, and, well, older stuff just doesn't have those changes, obviously. There we go. Now everything should turn on. Yeah. That's good. All the trains. We got all the trains upgraded. That was a huge thing that I've been putting off for a while, so I'm glad I got that done. I'm glad we fixed the fan yacht recipe. I hadn't even realized that that was wrong, so... We're out of raw fiber. That's a problem for next time. All right. Oh, thanks everybody for hanging out. I really appreciate it. We will be back on Thursday with more pie, and I'm assuming I won't have a pounding headache then, because, you know, 3-day headaches are no fun. I'm really hoping this does not turn into like a proper migraine. It feels like it might be, though. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I'll see you next time. And yeah, that's it.